Sometimes it's just nice to take a deep breath and let it be. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm going to start on my coast to the West Coast, and good afternoon to the East Coast. Although the East Coast is always here with me. How are you, East Coast? What's happening? Tell me, how are you guys? What's going on? What kind of support do you need? What's happening with your families? What's happening with your work if you're an essential worker? Moms, what's happening with those children? Do you ever wonder how long you can let them sleep? What's happening in your world, in your neck of the world, and in your life? And how can I support you? I'm sorry I missed you yesterday. I actually went to the doctor. Did I go to the doctor yesterday? I think I was actually not feeling well. I wasn't feeling well. I think I wanted to stay in bed, but I couldn't because I'm in the midst of my challenge. We're doing the 5-day Create Your Wealth Plan challenge, and I've invited you to be in it, particularly if you're off and they didn't sit down and talk to you about money at the dinner table. They didn't talk to you about wealth at the dinner table. You may want to be a part of that. You can't hear me? Thank you. Let me see what's happening. Okay. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now, Tommy Lee? Is that better? There must be something I do that I don't see you guys under here. So can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? So I figure out, do I need to turn on my other phone? So how are you? What's happening in your world? Let me know if you can hear me. What are you doing wherever you are? Good morning to the West Coast. I'm on the West Coast. How are things on the East Coast? How's your weather? How are things going? I was saying I was sorry I didn't get on yesterday. I wasn't feeling well. So I really took the time. I was trying to think, what did I do? I didn't get to rest as much because I'm in the middle of a challenge, and I am inviting you ladies to join us in the conversation if you are ready to get out of debt, if you're ready to invest, if you're ready to create something that allows you more wiggle room, so to speak, or if you're at that point where you want to move to creating wealth in your business. Hop into the challenge. It's interesting to look at what we know about money, what we need to learn about money, what we didn't learn about money, and how we can really make some shifts and changes to change our relationship with money. Money's always going to be a part of it, as long as we're on the planet. And health is important, so that's why I took some time off. I think I went to bed right after I did my challenge. Then I wake up and do the Q&A later on. Then I went back to sleep again, just to rest. I think I told you, I hit my tibia. Now I know what I'm talking about on my son's bookshelf almost 2 weeks ago. Incredible pain. I don't think I've ever felt such searing pain in my life. I mean, I was in his room and I had to stumble back and fall on his bed and just hold my knee because it was so painful. And it blew up kind of like a baseball on the outside. You cut a baseball in half, then that top part was what my knee looked like just below it. So now that's gone down to about the size of a half a dollar if you ever saw one of those when you were growing up. And the doctor wants me to get an x-ray next week. But in the meantime, a friend of mine sent me a lot of information about it. She was saying it's shin splints, but when I looked at the picture, the diagram, it's actually my tibia that got hit. But the inflammation is all around and the bruising is all around. So the relief for it is to relax. Actually, I'm not even supposed to be sitting. I should be laying down and my legs are supposed to be elevated. So I'm sorry I missed you yesterday. So how are you? What's happening for you? It seems like I should be able to see if you're making comments below. What's happening in the world where you are? What's happening with your friends and your family? Who has children that you're concerned about getting into school? As these weeks go so fast, if I look on the doggone calendar, okay, great. We're just on July 9th. So we still have about 6 weeks here in California before school starts. I think we start on August 16th. So what's happening for you? Because you're my main concern. I'm not as concerned about what the person in charge is not doing and his taxes and his push for everybody to open up the schools versus his push needs to be that the schools are safe. I always want to know how I can support you, what you're going through, or what your families are going through, and how you're maintaining your sense of sanity in this process, how you may be dealing with any sense of loneliness, frustration, isolation, even though at this point it may be self-imposed, because the more you listen to the news maybe and hear things on the news, you make your own decisions about what you do or do not want to do, but you may still be feeling lonely. Others of you on my Facebook page, my personal page, have just taken this to task. People have learned Spanish. I think I let you know that. They've re-landscaped their yards. They've cleaned out their garages. I've got one friend, I've known Laura for some years, who's been making masks and sending those out. So there's a spectrum of how we're all managing this process that we're going through. And I just wanted to hop on and ask you how you're doing. What's happening for your world? You know, what's on here? Crystal's often on here. Daryl's often on here. I think Matthew and David are often on here. How are you doing? Where are you? Are you locked in? Did they shut things down again where you are? Or are they opening up again gradually? And how is that going for you and your family? And what are your concerns with school? I think from the very beginning when this started, I kept thinking, what are we going to do about students when school starts? And it's unfortunate that the person who's not in charge, I guess, gave all the bailout money to all the corporations and all his friends. That's what they do. And so now when it's time for school, you want to say you're going to withdraw the funding. It's not withdrawing the funding. If anything, they need more funding. They need to hire more custodians to be able to clean. That's the biggest investment that needs to be made in the schools. Because he can push all he wants and say, okay, open the schools, and I'm sure the principals, administrations will open the schools, and then the parents won't send their kids to school. And he does not have the manpower or the force to make us all send our kids to school. So the reality is that we may not want to face right now because we want to stay in summer. Kids may be home a little bit longer than we expect. But let's stay for summer. We'll stay on summer, right? What are you doing for summer? Have you created your own summer? That's what I was saying a couple of days ago, was create your own summer. I listened to something today on the news, and one mom, which was incredible, they did a camp. They didn't have a camp for their kids, so they created a camp. And it was a basic necessities camp. So they taught them how to, do all the things that we as women just do automatically that our kids probably don't know, but they watch us do, that I can't remember right now. But it was like how to replace a light bulb, how to, I'd say unstop a sink or the toilet. What do you need for emergencies? What's your emergency kit? But they prepared them for life experiences that they normally wouldn't get. So that was what they did. So what are you doing with yours? You know, I suggest that you pull out the board games that we used to have. If you don't have any and you can do it, I suspect that the dollar stores and Walmart and even CVS has games. I have Taboo sitting over there. My son and I are practicing our skills on Taboo because he has some friends who play it all the time. Sorry, we do Monopoly. Pull out the games so the kids aren't on the computers the whole entire time. I already told you, pull out those slip and slides, put those water sprinklers on and let them run out there in the water. Here we're at, I think, 99 today. So I'm not sure what it may be for you. Maybe you have an older child that might want to read to the younger ones. How are you, though, is what I wanted to know. That was all. How are you doing? What's working? What's not working? I'm fine, so that's why I get to ask about you. I'm sure my tibia will be fine, and I'll get the rest I need. The challenge is today and tomorrow, and then there's a bonus training, and then there may be one other after that, and then we'll be complete. So please hop in and get the information. It's all still there available for you. I'm in a good place. So if I had to do a Thursday tip, it would be getting yourself in a good space. How do you do that, and how do you maintain it? That's probably the most important piece, is how do you maintain some level of continuity for yourself so you don't find yourself going up and down with the media and everything that's going on and everything that's being said. I think the last time I was on here, I told you there were like 7 different things that we're being impacted by that have at least 2 or 3 bullet points under them that we have to be aware of, or at least have some general knowledge of. And that's way more than we've ever had to deal with. When you think about life like in 2018 or 2016, we're like, life was kind of cool back then. Things were, they've always been bumpy for people of color in America. That's just the facts. But, you could go on and live life. You weren't on high alert every day, every time you walked out your house, making sure you're okay, making sure you have your mask, nobody's bothering you, nobody's looking at you strange, what you're going to say, what you're not going to say. You didn't have to navigate all of that. And I guess if you stay at home, you don't have to navigate that now that much either. I know I do have one friend who was sending me some information today. She's like, I haven't been in the stores since this almost started. I order everything. She's like, I'm a germaphobe and I don't want to catch anything. I was like, okay, well, that's one way to look at it. So how is it for you in navigating all that there is? Are you checking in once a day, and is that enough? Are you sitting there in front of the TV all day long? Are you at least getting outside and getting some vitamin D? Because, that's good for us. They didn't tell you couldn't go outside. You couldn't take your kids to the park. Dads can go play basketball, our moms with their sons. So what are you doing in the time that we do have? Because the time you have with your loved ones or the time you have with yourself, it's still important. It's still valuable. It's still time. It's still time. And we get to decide and determine the quality of that time, how we're going to spend it, what we're going to do with it. No one's changing that. Now we have some, I don't want to use that word. We have some definitions. It's been defined for us, the scope of how we can do that and where. In our houses, in our front yards, backyards. If you're in apartments, I guess you can still go down to the swimming pools and things like that to be outside or walk around the block. But what are you doing in deciding for each moment that you're living your life, the quality of what that's going to be like for you? Are you sitting there in worry? Are you sitting there in fret? Or are you sitting there in complete gratitude and appreciation? Hey, we got another day. We have another day. What are you going to do with this day? I can't imagine you sit there and look at the news. You know what? You know what you guys compete with every day? Let me get to it. You guys compete with Perry Mason. I grew up looking at Perry Mason. I love Perry Mason. And I always am missing it because it starts at 9 and I come on here with you guys at 9. But what are you doing with these moments? When things shift back to when things go forward to wherever they're going to go, what do you want that to look like? And in the meantime, here's the thing. What relationships can you nurture right now? Who can you give extra attention to right now? That under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have time because you'd be busy, you'd be running around trying to do 10 things at one time. What relationship can you nurture during this time? And I mean, can you give it more attention? Can you examine how you actually feel in that relationship? Can you notice what things may need to change for you in that relationship, or how you're showing up in that relationship? How you could potentially show up in a different way. And for me, as I say this to you, the number one relationship that comes to mind is the relationship you have with yourself. How gentle are you being with yourself? How compassionate are you being with yourself? How understanding are you being with yourself? How much faith do you have in yourself in navigating the waters and navigating this experience? The first relationship would be the relationship with yourself. And then, because I am more spiritually inclined, the next one, or the same one, would be the relationship with that divine presence that you call God, life, the universe, Yahweh, Shiva, Krishna, God, Olodumare. There's so many names. Jesus, Gaia. How much time and attention are you finding that you have to spend in more devotion? Connecting more deeply to that power and presence that's breathing your breath and beating your heart. Part of what we get to do now is not focus all of our attention out there, even though that's where most people have their attention. But what would it mean for you to turn your attention in here to you? What would it mean for you to make peace with some of those situations and experiences you've had that you struggle with, that you keep remembering and playing them over and over? What would it mean to let go of all that? What would it mean to love you more? So much of our focus, of course, as moms is what's going to happen with the children, what's going to happen with the children. And I'm sure some dads are concerned too. But what about focusing on you? We don't have to worry about the kids just yet. We have another 6 weeks to figure out what's going to happen with school. What about you? Your health, your eating, your relationships. What about focusing on what you need? Because so often for women, we're the last thing on our list. You know, we got to go by moms, we have to go by the store, go by the cleaners, stop by this, pick this up for the church. And then at sometime during the evening, we fall on it and say, oh, now what do I need? Well, by then we're too tired. So I'm just asking you, what are you doing during these times? Because I know yesterday, I think I was looking at something. I don't know where my Perry Mason is. And I was so tired, I just turned the TV off. I thought, there's nothing on here. There's nothing for me to look at. So what else? Hey, there's Perry Mason. Halfway through the show. I don't even know what it's about. What can you focus on now that you normally wouldn't have time to focus on because you'd be so busy doing so many other things? Those are the kind of things I want you to begin to look at. And to my essential workers, I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I was so sick over the last couple of days, I couldn't get to the store. And a friend of mine's like, order it, order it. I hadn't ordered either in a long time and forgot how to do it or just hadn't ordered. So I got the app. One of the women in my group told me she was a flight attendant. She took her early leave and now she's being a shopper for Whole Foods. So I signed up and sure enough, I sent in, I needed some vegetables and fruits and, those kind of things. And sure enough, they delivered them this morning. I ordered them last night at 8:30 and they came from 7 to 9. So to the essential workers who hear this, to see this, thank you. We have not forgotten you. We know that you're out there. And I know we're misbehaving out here because that means there's more of us in there in the hospitals with you. All I can do is say I'm sorry about that. But there are those of us who know you're there and we appreciate you. We send you prayers. We try to buy food and send it up for lunch and anything that might help. But I know the greatest thing that would help make your jobs easier if we would follow the mandates and put our mask on. Then there'd be less people in the hospital and less people needing the emergency rooms. So how are you? Let me know below. I'm just stopping by to say hello, to check in with you and see how you're using this time. I'm doing my challenge, and then after the challenge is done and we do the classes, I'll be starting an accountability group if that's something you want to be a part of. I'm going to do a 2-day virtual workshop around building your wealth plan and putting all the components in. So that may be something of value to you. And after the challenge is over with, I'm going to join you. I'm going to sit back and relax. I can't walk yet. I have to take time around that piece, but I'm going to sit back and relax and read books. And I guess I'm not going to do too much else because I wanted to paint and I wanted to do some other things. But from what I've read, this situation here with this tibia and all the bruising I still see says I'm not going to be able to do too much but lay on this couch and bug you. So take good care. Have a great day. Remember, you're creating your own summer. Don't let this be a summer where you sit around and say, oh, well, that was COVID-19 and we didn't do anything. COVID did this and COVID did. Don't give COVID that much power. If you do not have symptoms, if you still have the ability to move and breathe and you're comfortable with that and your family is, do something. Make some memories for this. Don't let the only memory be, the COVID and the list just goes on. I can't say it. And the president and Kanye wants to run and the testing and now not the testing and the quarantine. Don't let that be all for your family or even for yourself. People are still dating. There's six degrees of separating. They're still dating. Allow your memories of this time to be more than what's been created. Take pictures. Don't just post everything on Facebook. The people on Facebook don't know you. We just post stuff everywhere and half the people that don't know us. Make sure you take some pictures and put them in a photo album so you guys can look at them later. I have like 4 photo albums and my son has like 3 in his room and we go through them on a regular basis. But find something to laugh about. Tell me what you can laugh about. Tell me what gives you joy. Tell me those kind of things, okay? And for me, what's going to give me joy is for this situation to heal. I've never had this experience before. I didn't know bruising was so, wow, I don't know. Because I guess when you have your leg down, the bruising just all goes down. So my whole entire leg was blue and purple and red and very interesting. But anyway, have a great day. Let me know how you're doing on the East Coast. What are you doing? Essential workers, we couldn't do this without you. We just couldn't. So we appreciate you. I appreciate you. I am thankful for you. Um, this allows me technically not to have to go to the store if I don't want to. And just know we're going to get through this. Heck, we're getting through it. Do you realize it's July? So we started March 13th, April, May, June, July. We're 4 months in it. We are getting through this. So just know we're going to get through it more and more. I think we had put it on one of the other posts, and some people did respond to it. We were thinking that we could send some money to people if they needed some support. So if you do need some support, put your Cash App below, down below, and we'll send you something. In the meantime, I'm inviting you again to join the challenge, ladies. Do not be sitting at home looking at soap operas and looking at how Kylie Jenner is making all that money off you guys with all her beauty products. I think the beauty supply industry is a $535 billion business. That means women are doing all that spending. What if you could take all that money you're putting out there to make this look better than it is because it's already magnificent? What if you could take that money and do something different for the future of your life? Do something different that gives you more comfort in your life, like building your savings, like learning how to invest, like having an emergency fund so that when these kind of scenarios in life happens, you have the money you need to bounce back on. I can't understand why that wouldn't be great for you. And it's free. So take good care. Let me know how you're doing, what you're doing. Essential workers, let me know who you are. Shout out to you. I'm continuing to put you all in our prayers, knowing that we're unfolding perfectly, that health and wholeness comes to all of us, that we all stand in health and wholeness. We support those prayers by taking the decisions and the actions that are in alignment with that. We wear our masks. If you don't want to wear your mask, stay at home. You can walk around your house without it. You can go in your backyard. You can go in your front yard. You're fine. But be willing to choose consciously how you want it to all be and show up in your life. Okay, take good care. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.